Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Ernest Garcia. I'm the Assistant Chief with the Houston Police Department. Behind me, I have three members of our command staff with the Houston Police Department. And what I want to do today is I want to talk just preliminary information that we have of what happened this evening. So about 6 o'clock today, Houston police officers received a call indicating that there were shots fired at the intersection of Dolly Wright and Carver. It's at the Windsor Park. When officers arrived at the scene, officers did not find any activity, anybody been shot. However, residents there in the area and people at the park indicated that there was an activity down the street about a mile away from that park. Officers went to the location, and when they went to about the 1900 block of Dolly Wright, officers observed a white SUV that was in the ditch on the side of the road. So officers conducted an investigation, observed blood on the vehicle, as well as bullet holes in the vehicle. However, there were no persons or anybody in the vehicle or actually in or around. So as the officers were conducting their investigation and determining what had actually occurred, they started receiving information from our HPD dispatch that there were several calls from hospitals that had individuals with gunshot wounds being admitted. I can tell you now that we have a total of 5 individuals with gunshot wounds, one being juvenile. I have another individual that has a non-gunshot wound, but he has a leg injury. Investigators from the Houston Police Department, major assaults, have been talking to these complainants, trying to get information as to what actually occurred out here. But like I said earlier, we're very early in this investigation. We have just very preliminary information to share. I will tell you also that while officers were here at the scene at the 1900 block of Dolly Wright, officers heard a series of gunshots about a mile away from where we're at now. Another shooting occurred down the street, and I'm not quite sure what the block number is on that, but it's about a mile away from 1900 block of Dolly Wright. A female was shot in the arm, non-life-threatening, and she was also transported to the hospital. Because of the close proximity of these two incidents, we do possibly believe they may be related, but there's no way to indicate that right now if they are. But just like I said, with the preliminary distance between these two incidences, we believe that may be possibly related. In terms of suspect description, we don't have very much suspect description with the information that we have now. I can tell you that we are looking for a black, small car, possibly an Audi or a Mercedes, black in color or dark blue. That vehicle, according to our complainants here at this scene at 1900 Dollywood, right, indicated that they observed that black vehicle or dark blue Audi or Mercedes. The incident that occurred a mile from here also was witnesses are stating that observed a black or dark blue vehicle. So that might be possibly also the vehicle that we're describing here, and that will give us the indication that possibly that case also down the street is related. Like I said, we have our major assaults investigators conducting the follow-up investigation, and as soon as we get more information on any other possible descriptions of suspects, we'll release that to get our public to help in identifying what exactly happened here tonight. If you have any information, of course, call Crime Stoppers at 222-TIP-713 or call our Major Assaults Division with the Houston Police Department. Any questions?
So to clarify, you've got 5 people shot and a 6th person with a leg injury?
That's correct. So we have a total of 5 here at the 1900 block of Dolly Wright, one with a leg injury, and a separate gunshot victim down the street from or about a mile from here, from the 1900 block of Dolly Wright, with a gunshot wound to the arm. So all in total, 5 here, 1 down the street, and 1 with a leg injury.
Any other questions, folks?
You mentioned that one is a juvenile. Are the others adults, or do you know that yet?
That we don't. I can't confirm whether they are or not at this time.
Do you have an approximate age on the juvenile?
No, we don't.
Witnesses?
I'm sorry.
Witnesses?
As right now, we don't. Our witnesses are going to be our complainants who are now in the hospital. We're working on that also, on that piece of the investigation, and trying to determine if there are any other witnesses from this case or from the one down the street. So yes, right now that we don't, but we're working on that.
So they weren't transported with ambulance? They were transported by, how was it again?
Some of them were transported by ambulance, and some were transported by private vehicle. I'll add that of the ones that got shot, no one called the police. So we're getting this from secondhand reporting from the hospital. So the ones that got shot, no one called the police, and that's problematic in itself. But like I said, we're working on that piece of the investigation, and we'll release some more information when we have it.
Any knowledge of type of weapon?
No, sir.
Now, what do you have to say about, these senseless just acts of violence? This shooting, that shooting down the street, there was a shooting earlier on Airline. It's just pointless.
It is, and it's very tragic when we have these kind of incidences. As we learned, Saturday night or Friday night with the deputy, it's just a tragedy all around. But you can rest assured the Houston Police Department is combating the violent crime that we're seeing here in the city, and some of the issues that come into play, like this here, where we have 5 individuals that have been shot. However, no one called the police. Like I said, that's problematic. So we're trying to work through that. We will work through it. But you're absolutely right. It appears to be senseless violence. But we'll work through that.
Do you have a message just for the people out committing all these crimes? I mean, it's just been a crazy weekend. I think it's kind of how we're all feeling.
Yeah. We're going to go after you. The Houston Police Department has ample resources. We have several violent crime initiatives that City Council and the Mayor has approved for the Houston Police Department. We have plans in the works to continue that. And wherever violent crime is, the Houston Police Department will be. It is senseless, but we're conducting our operations, and we'll go forward.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
y'all.